Welcome back to the 8 o'clock spot. I am not your regular host. I am not Bryson Carver, but I am EJ Savage up in the host seat this week, and I'm gonna do my best. So if Bryson's out there watching, man, hey, I'm gonna try to take the white boy seat right here and put my energy out into the building. First up, the first panelist is a co-founder of the Gryd Network. He is Barry Grant Jr. Say what's up, Barry.
Hi, EJ. I mean, you don't look like the guest in the intro, but I mean the host. But you look good. You're a handsome guy. I think you're very talented. I think you're gonna do much better than Bryson, because Bryson, he's a bit of a tyrant on the show. He's a bit of a tyrant with the points. He likes to set people up. You know, if Alfred is here, you can guarantee that Alfred's gonna find his way into the final somehow. I don't like it. I don't like it. And shouts to Tim. You know, whenever you come back, free Tim. That's all I'm saying. But I'm glad to be here. Mr. 18 million is in the building, the creator of the show. So be nice to me, EJ.
Ooh, creator of the show. Yes, I'm gonna try to be fair. I'm gonna try to be fair because I've only won the 8 o'clock spot once. So hey, I know how hard the grind is. But we also got my guy Adam Best, a host of Cowboys CanFan. Say what's up, Adam.
Two-time Gryd 8 o'clock spot winner from the CanFan show. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's not Barry Grant numbers, but what up, y'all? Hey, I'm happy to see you in the. Look, Bryson and I, as Bryson the host, I get along with Bryson all the time. I do struggle sometimes when he doesn't give me the points that I think he should give me. When someone else says something, you're just like, oh, I thought my take was a little bit better than that. But happy to see how you run the ship here today, EJ, Mr. Savage. Who
absolutely
is almost like Barry Grant Jr. for our show at the Cowboys CanFan. Both of y'all have been almost day ones. I mean, Barry Grant Jr. was a day one. EJ, you're right up there for being a day one. So
EJ's like a day 90.
Yeah, day 90. But hey, I still made the show.
That definitely. He's a mainstay. He's a mainstay.
And for our draft show last year, EJ Savage was our Will McClay. So whenever we got into a point, and I know we might talk about them Cowboys today, but every time we got into the point where it's like, okay, should we move through this mock draft choice? EJ Savage is playing our Will McClay because he just had all that draft knowledge for us Canadians up here in the CanFan Nation today.
Shout out to EJ, baby. You know your stuff, man. You know your stuff.
You see how we're both sucking up to you?
Yeah, they're sucking up already. I like this seat, man. It's nice and warm for me. I get some nice compliments. No, but AJ might be rolling in here. Another host of Cowboys CanFan Podcast. He might be rolling in here later, but we don't know. So we might already have our two finalists in the building right now, which is an interesting ordeal. But let me go ahead and pull up this leaderboard real quick. So we got Mike Guido with 70,400 points. Barry Grant Jr. I'm not going to read off the points. Barry Grant Jr. in second. Alfred, Dalton, Devin, John, Adam, Bessie right there, number 7. So we got our number 2 versus number 7 here. Dylan, then myself, EJ Savage. I got to get my point total up. Brian Flowers, Anthony Best, Tim, Alex, who might be popping in here a little bit later, and then Eric Van Litten. So we got a great show, and the first. Let's get to these comments here real quick. Carving it up with my boy Bryson Carver. I feel attacked. We also got EJ's gonna crush it. He maybe Bryson's gunning for some points for himself. I might have to add him to the leaderboards as well. And then here we got Chris Jones. Game time. Let's get it, boys. So with the first question on the docket, we got this man Kirk Cousins going to the Atlanta Falcons. Tore his Achilles earlier in the season for the Vikings. He's going to come back, and so the question is, are the Falcons now the favorites to win the NFC South with the addition of Kirk Cousins? And we'll start it off, and I'll throw it to my guy Barry Grant Jr., and your time starts now.
I don't think that they're the favorites. I think that they're in the mix. I still think that the Bucks are the favorites to win that division. I think the Bucks are good at the fact that they got Mike Evans back, the fact that Baker is now re-signed, and he's on a really, really team-friendly deal. If he produces well, you can see them rip up that contract in a year and a half or so and get him a bigger bag. So I think they're still poised to be the leaders of that division, but Atlanta's not too far behind. I mean, you saw that team last season. They had quarterback troubles the entire year, but they had talent, right? You have Kyle Pitts, you have Bijan Robinson, Algier, you have London, Drake London. They have the pieces to be successful, but Arthur Smith just was not the coach to be able to get them where they needed to be. So now they have a different dynamic. They have Kirk Cousins here now that is a very good quarterback, fringe top 10 guy. He can put up the numbers that they need and stabilize that offense. I think Kyle Pitts, you're going to see an increase in regards to his productivity for the first time since his rookie season, right? He might actually step into his potential. So I think that they're definitely going to be in the mix, but to say that they're the favorites, I can't say that. And one more thing about Kirk Cousins, the fact that the man is the number 6 career earner at quarterback in the history of the NFL, and we already know that he's a career playoff loser. It just shows you how great the man's business acumen is. So shouts to Kirk Cousins and whoever his agent is, because he's fleeced everybody in the NFL. Shouts to him.
For sure. I honestly, and let me stop your timing here. Honestly, could not agree more with a lot of what you said. The Falcons have so many weapons there with those wide receivers. The tight end, Kyle Pitts, can maybe live up to that 4th overall pick. I believe that it was. So a really, really good take by Barry Grant Jr. I am going to go ahead and give him 200 points. And also, I forgot to bring up the points and how it goes. Oh, sorry. That's the second round. I'm new to this, guys. So you got to give me
baby.
Yeah, exactly. But the great take for Barry Grant Jr., that's worth 200 points. And now we go to my guy, Adam Bessie. What do you think about this question, man?
Well, I mean, it's tough when you're going second and you get the jump off of first, because Barry Grant Jr.'s points were a lot of them. I had them like, oh, he's saying my point there. He's saying my point there. So no, I don't think they're going to be the favorite. I think that with Kirk Cousins, they're in like a major contention. The problem with the Atlanta Falcons is not necessarily the pieces of the pie. It's the person who's making the pie or in charge of cooking the pie, which would be Arthur Smith. So I think a lot of the challenges that we saw with the Falcons last year was, you have those pieces there. What are you doing? Why are you not going to Bijan Robinson every effing play? So I think what Kirk Cousins does do for the team is it puts him in a really good position to contend against a team like the Bucs, and you can dish it off to Bijan a bit more. Signing Darnell Mooney to the Falcons was a huge move as well, to kind of add more pieces to that Kirk Cousins pie. So I do think they're in very strong contention. I don't think they're a favorite, but they are definitely better than where they were last year. And yeah, shout out to Kirk Cousins. 320. That guy is going to have $329 million of guaranteed money at the end of 2027 out of all of his years playing. That's how much he's accumulated. That's his bag that he's taken home from the NFL. So if you want to say, if when people are like, oh, you're like a Kirk Cousins, like who gives a shit? Like who gives a shit? I just made $329 million, baby.
Oh, you calling me a winner? Okay, great.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying that I'm good at business. Thank you. But yeah, no, check down to Bijan Robinson, and you have someone that can kind of maintain the ship. Let Bijan take you through the playoffs, but Kirk Cousins, the guy right now.
No, yeah, you made a good point with the new head coach in there. I believe Raheem Morris from the Rams is the new head coach there, so he's going to bring a hard-nosed, defensive-minded guy in there, and really they have all the pieces to be a really good offense. They not only have Bijan Robinson, but also Tyler Algier, who is a really, really good running back too. So you know what, Adam, I'm going to give you 200 points as well. I almost docked you for saying Falcon instead of Falcons, but since you're Canadian, I'll let it slide. But yeah, so after the first round, the score is 200-200. So we got a tight race right here. We're going to go into the second round. And in the second round, everything is worth double. So you got the great take at 400, good take 200, okay at 100, and you still get 0 for a bad take, boys. So you got to be on your P's and Q's. Going to the second question, 31 NFL teams made a move yesterday to some capacity. The single outlier was the Dallas Cowboys. They did make a move today, re-signing their long snapper, Trent Siege. But what move and or moves still available in the market would you make in order to fall into the category of all in, as Jerry Jones so eloquently stated in a quote earlier in the offseason? Adam, you're starting us off now.
Oh man, EJ, this is a tough one, because I don't think there's any moves right now that the Cowboys can make to signify that they're all in. There are moves that they can still make to make Cowboys Nation feel somewhat optimistic. Like if we go ahead and we sign Quadzilla, we'll be like, okay, cool, we're back at the Super Bowl contention. But that to me doesn't translate to all in. I need to see some form of a trade happening. I need to see some form of a commitment to the linebacker or at least to the running back position, which clearly it's been clearance shopping sale for running backs in the last 2 days, and Cowboys have been on vacation. So, or the Cowboys front office has been on vacation. So clearly that's not an all-in mindset to me. And when you see reports of, Moss being too much or out of their wheelhouse at $4 million a year for 2 years at $8 million, like, come on, like you're telling me that's not a good deal, even if it's going to be your second running back option. But as soon as we saw Derrick Henry go to the Ravens and Queen go to the Steelers, I was like, okay, we're not all in this offseason. We're not all in this season. So I don't think there's any moves right now that can convince me that we are all in. I do think there's moves that they can do to convince me to be optimistic, which I, as a Canadian Cowboy fan, you better believe I'm an optimistic Cowboy fan. But yeah, no, I'm going to go and say no moves at this point.
Adam, I'm going to go ahead and give you a good take on that because I'm a Cowboys fan. I want to buy into this thing. I want to believe in it, man. You got to sell me on the moves, brother.
Yep.
But hey, you said some good things about some of the guys that went in the running back, market right now. And truthfully, there isn't anybody that's like an eye popper that you could sign currently off the streets. But you did mention something with the trades. Is there, a guy out there that's kind of fallen out? Maybe a Tyler Algier isn't going to be the running back in the future, especially with Bijan there for the Falcons. So maybe you could throw them a late round pick and get a Tyler Algier in your franchise. But with that, I will give you the good take, which puts you up to the 400 points. And to that, we jump over here to Barry Grant Jr. again of the All Even Podcast.
I've been trying to tell people about these Dallas Cowboys that Jerry Jones is the ultimate gaslighter and Mr. Bargain Bazaar shopper. So in regards to the moves that I would like to see them make to make me happy and make Dallas Cowboys Nation happy, there's some moves out there that can kind of wet our palate a little bit, right? If we get an A.J. Dillon, if we get, say, a Donta Foreman, I like Deontay Foreman. I think that would be a decent move at running back to kind of say, this kid is good. He can fill a gap. He's a strong, hard runner. So we can live with that, right? At wide receiver, I can live with an Odell Beckham as being a wide receiver 4 or 3, right? I can live with that. That would be, okay, cool. I can live with that. That's fine. We can live with a Michael Thomas, right? Like he's on the downside, but can he be able to give you something in regards to the type of offense that we have? Could you imagine if he can be able to even get 50% or 60% of what he used to be in regards to those sure hands and being able to go across the middle and be a slot guy possibly? Like, he was always a possession receiver, not a guy that beat you downfield. So these things can be able to happen, but we all know that what is the bottom line here is that Jerry doesn't like to dig into free agency because he can't manipulate the cap the way he wants to, right? You going into the draft to be able to get a guy that's slotted at this particular price, that makes sense for Jerry, right? You can be able to now pay guys and give Dak the money that he wants and CD, and now we have to rely on these rookies and give us that hope that, oh my goodness, these guys are going to be able to get better and wait till next year when they improve. That's the Jerry template. That's what he's been doing for the last 12 years. It's not going to change. And we as Cowboy fans just need to realize that this time of year, turn your phones off and don't worry about it, because once the draft hits, that's our time.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly think he said some really good things. Honestly, we know that Jerry and the guys that are running the Cowboys up at the front, Steve and Jerry, they don't have the sense of urgency that is required of a GM to really make the moves that work and catapult your team into a different stratosphere with the other big dogs of the game. It's really disappointing as a Cowboys fan, but as far as Barry Grant Jr.'s take, I'm going to give him a good take, which puts him up to 400 points as well with Adam Bessie. I wanted somebody to mention Michael Gallup in a possible trade package to get somebody.
Nobody wants him. Nobody wants him. That's why we didn't mention it.
Well, and that, yeah, exactly. Who do, and that's where when the question was, are there any moves to signify that we're all
right?
Hey,
Michael Gallup,
I'm all out on Michael Gallup, so just push him somewhere. Come on now.
We'll get it. Nobody even wants to give us a 7 for him. Nobody even wants to give us a 7 for him. He's washed.
Yeah, he's not like a Tony Pollard where they're like, you know what, go ahead and test out the free agency. It's like Tony Pollard goes out there sniffing, and before he can even like breathe in, he's fucking
he's gone. Yeah,
he's nabbed up by the Titans.
Yeah. My guy Clutch Sports says DeMar Hamlin has played more than Mike Thomas as of recently. We got Bryson Carver. Jerry is the master gaslighter. Yes. Facts. He's a businessman, knows how to sell you on this stuff.
Very true.
Gallup is washed. I agree, but I feel like you can maybe get something for him. I don't know. I mean, we're probably just going to release him later on the off season. No trades either. Yeah, I completely agree. But I wanted somebody to explore the options. Come on, guys. Make me feel good. I'm the host here.
We are hopeless on this side. Sorry.
Sorry. Oh, man.
That's why we both got good takes on this.
Right, exactly.
That's all right.
Anything with Dallas Cowboys and free agency right now, I don't even know how we could constitute a good take.
Facts.
Any of this. We should have
exactly
0 points.
We should have got both bad takes because it's just there's no positives here. There's nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm surprised Barry didn't go the route of, hey, let's waive the no trade clause for Dak. If he agrees to this, we can get the Vikings, first, second, third, in the first next round.
Yeah, everybody knows how I feel about Dak. So,
no, but hey, that's all right. Hey, we're tied up 400 apiece. We're moving into the third round, where it just goes up and up and up. 800 points for the great take. The good take is 400. The okay take 200. And if you get a bad take, you're coming away with the donut. Which brings us to the third question. How much better, if any, will the Pittsburgh Steelers be with Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback over Kenny Pickett in 2024? Go ahead, Barry.
Listen, they're going to be significantly better. We have to give Russell Wilson some credit. He wasn't a terrible quarterback last year, but he also wasn't the quarterback that Denver paid for, right? So there's a difference, right? Like they expected more of a Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers in his prime type of production where he's leading the charge. He's doing what he has to do. He's rolling out of the pocket and finding guys for 60 yards down the field every game like he was doing with Tyler Lockett and Doug Baldwin back in the days, right? That's not who he is anymore because athleticism is starting to wane with him. And he never really was a heady quarterback, in my opinion. So he can still be able to make the throws, but you're seeing the athleticism go down. And he had a young receiving core, and he's not a great leader. Him on Pittsburgh, he doesn't have to do any of those things. Mike Tomlin is the face of that team. Mike Tomlin is the leader of that franchise. Mike Tomlin is the leader of that team. All Russell Wilson has to do is just be better than what they've had in the last 3 years or so, right? Just be a guy that can be able to be consistently good, above average. Don't turn the ball over too much. They have a good running game. They got 2 running backs that they can be able to rely on. So they have, George Pickens, that's an up-and-coming receiver that can be able to break out this year. Freiermuth is a tight end. They have pieces. Russell Wilson can be able to do a lot for them, so they're definitely going to improve. Absolutely. They made the playoffs with 3 of the worst, quarterbacks out there. This guy is not going to be as bad as them, so they're going to be able to have a chance to be slightly better, if not a little bit more than that.
You know what? I agree with you, and that's weird for me to say because Russell Wilson hasn't been a good quarterback for about 2 years, in my opinion.
I go 4.
Okay, yeah. So it's hard to be basically what you're arguing. It's hard to be worse than Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph and whoever the hell else started there this year. And yes, they have some pieces. They recently just traded Deontay Johnson to the Panthers, I believe, for a cornerback. So they missed that piece. But like you said, George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, they got Najee Harris in the backfield. They're probably looking to improve their offensive line as well. And they've got a really good defense that can help Russell Wilson control the game. And as long as he can put up a consistent, 3-4 good drives a game where you can get into field goal range and and or get a touchdown,
They
you're
just
right
signed
there in the
Patrick
game.
Queen too. Yeah, they just
Yeah, exactly. And Patrick Queen. So, Barry, I'm going to give you a great take on that, which puts your score up to 1,200. And let me type that in. And boom, it's up.
Sir.
My own little sound effect right there. But yeah, I really liked what Barry said right there, and I happen to agree. So, Adam, the floor is yours, buddy.
I thought you were going to say, Adam, good luck. You know what? Like, I mean, Russell Wilson. So the scene from Forrest Gump where the drill sergeant's yelling in Forrest Gump's face and he's just kind of standing there like deadpan. That's what I felt Russell Wilson was Russell Wilson and Sean Payton last year. And I just don't know if Russell Wilson could have handled that situation better than any other quarterback out there, because he still put up decent numbers last year. He did about 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He had about a 97, 98% like QB rating for the entire season. Now, granted, he was sat for a little bit of it, but so when you look at that, like, he was far better than his first year on the Broncos and typically better than his last year on the Seahawks. When someone gets paid the money that Russell Wilson did to get traded to the Broncos, think of the amount of mental effery that does to you. I don't care how we like to say, oh, they're professionals, they're supposed to handle it. Like, that's a lot of money to live up to. And a lot of times people just can't handle that. We see a lot of people a lot of players sign contracts, large contracts, and then they just don't have the production, the next year after that. Like, it seems to be this thing. They get up to a certain level, they get their bag, and then they kind of deflate a little bit. So Russell Wilson is no exception, but I did think he did handle that Sean Payton situation very, very well. And I think going into Pittsburgh, looking at a team that is all about loyalty and is all about trust with specifically Mike Tomlin or Bill Cowler from the previous years, like, they're not going to just say you're done after 3 or 4 games. I mean, they've ridden some terrible quarterbacks over the last 3 years. So I think the environment's a safe place for Russell Wilson to help thrive. Wow, you're cutting me very short. Like, I've been talking for 2 seconds. Barry talked for 2 hours on his last comment, but I think Russell Wilson's going to fit nicely into the Pittsburgh Steelers, and with the weapons that they have available on offense, I think they're going to get the job done, because the Broncos weren't that bad last year for what everyone's making Russell Wilson seem to be. Give me that okay take, Bryson. I mean, sorry, EJ.
Right. You're right. You're gonna get you're gonna get the good take. I'm gonna give you the 600 points, and let me just make sure that I'm right on the 600. Oh, it's a 400 for the good take. So actually, you're less than that. You're only at 800 points. Sorry,
okay.
Adam.
Okay.
No, but I liked a lot of what you said with Russell Wilson in regards to him playing on the Denver Broncos and having a decent season. Like, whenever I check the stats and by the books, it looks like a decent season, but they were just absolutely atrocious in so many areas for that team. And I don't know if I want to blame Sean Payton or I want to blame Russell Wilson or the run game or whatever it might be.
Just look at the situation. It wasn't a great situation. You have a new head coach coming in, regardless if it's the prodigal son, Sean Payton, coming through and going to revolutionize the Broncos. He has his own agenda, but you can't expect that to happen in one season.
Yeah. No, and honestly, shame on the Broncos franchise for making that trade and giving him that ginormous contract without him ever playing it down for you. That's just completely ludicrous. And now they're due like $39 million. They're going to be paying him this year for not even playing for them. So crazy. From the resident Steelers fan, Russell's leadership is not exactly great, but as a Steelers fan, he is a clear upgrade over Kenny Pickett. So I'm good with it. And he's crazy cheap. Hashtag here we go from Bryson Carver. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, man. Mike Tomlin's always going to have his guys rally. They're probably going to be in contention for the playoffs, like they always are, and they have a little bit of an upgrade over Kenny Pickett, in my opinion. So, if I was a panelist down there, I would absolutely agree. Russell Wilson is, in fact, going to be an upgrade over Kenny Pickett, because it's hard not to, like Barry Grant said. Jumping in here to the final round. We got Adam Best at 800 points. We got my guy Barry Grant Jr. at 1,200 points. It's no mystery who's making the final round, guys. we've got the two finalists right here. Don't look around. Oh, it's almost as big of a surprise as Jerry Jones not doing a single thing on the first day of free agency. But that's beside the point. Final round is winner takes all. 10,000 points for the winner. Loser goes home with 0 points, which is unfortunate. But you know the topic. It's over this massive fight. Jake Paul, 27 years old. Mike Tyson, 57, I believe. Streamed on Netflix Saturday, July 20th. It's going to be a fun watch, man. I actually am very, very excited about this. But when it comes to the question, who wins this fight and why? We're going to go over here to Adam Best to start us off. Go ahead.
Well, Jake Paul at his age and for what he's done in the last 10 years, from being a Vine kid in his bedroom to being on Netflix, facing off. I don't give a rip how old these fighters are that he's facing off against. He is making the sport of boxing, I don't want to say relevant, but just talked about. So in that regards, Jake Paul is winning at life right now with the amount of money he's bringing in and the amount of exposure he's bringing to other boxers and even just like other fighters about fighter pay in the UFC or just boxer pay. So I think he's doing a lot of good for the sport. In terms of the actual fight, I mean, I just saw Mike Tyson sparring and doing a workout, and he's looking good even at his age. You know, you can't take the dog out of a guy like Mike Tyson if he's in premier shape. However, Jake Paul's half of his age. So I think it's going to go right to probably decision. I don't think anybody's going to get knocked out. And I think they'll probably give Jake Paul the win because boxing needs it. So if everyone wants to say it's rigged, which that's the biggest thing that everyone likes to say against the Jake Paul fight is it's rigged. How much is he paying Tyson? I do think that he will get favored to win it, and it's going to go to decision. I don't think it's going to end in a knockout. So Jake Paul by decision.
Hey, you can't take the dog out of the old man is what Adam just said, because he is an old man. He might look really good in those sparring videos, but they only go so long. And I can tell you from my experience, fighting takes a lot out of you, like physically and mentally. It is hard. So it's going to be an interesting fight regardless. Like you said, you know, Jake Paul brings back excitement to the sport that is kind of lost since, you know, the big heavyweight battles, you know, so long ago, it seems. So I know I'm going to tune in for sure. It's going to be a fun experience to just watch these two dudes. One of the legends of boxing and one of the guys that have kind of, in some respects, tarnished the boxing name to some, you know, people that love the sport. But overall, it's going to be a fun experience. And I'll kick it over here to Barry Grant Jr. of the All Even podcast.
I mean, listen, it's a circus, but this is what Jake Paul has created. People love to watch it. This is going to be obviously the first fight that I watch a Jake Paul fight. I've seen all the highlights and stuff like that. I love when he lost to Fury. That was great. But in regards to who's going to win, I mean, listen, this is Tyson. You saw what he looked like against Roy Jones. Right, that fight wasn't all that great, but you still saw that he can be able to move. He can be able to get his punches off and stuff like that. Jake Paul is younger. He's supposed to be faster, but you know, all it takes is one Mike Tyson close right hook to send it over, right? So if you're gonna have me pick somebody, I'm gonna go with the old man. I'm gonna go with the old man just because of, you know, the skill, the ring awareness, just the fact that he's a bulldog, and Jake Paul has never seen a guy like this before. Just to be able to kind of piggyback off of what Adam said in regards to Jake Paul bringing excitement to boxing, he has in some way, but he's also opened the door for a lot of people believing that they can do this walking off the street. Ask Francis Ngannou what happened to him. So, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, tread lightly for people that think that this sport is just easy to just do. All it takes is one hook to just put your lights out and change your mind quickly. But I got Tyson all the way. Tyson's my guy. He's always been my guy. Even when he bit Holyfield's ear off, still my guy because Holyfield headbutted him. That's why he got frustrated. That's why he got frustrated, and the ref didn't see it. So you know, that's what it is. So I got Tyson winning. Tyson's my guy. Tyson will always be my guy. So yeah.
Yeah, you make a good point for Tyson. I think that his ring awareness, his understanding on how to move, he has the knockout power. We've seen it many, many, many times before. But is he that same animal? You brought up the Roy Jones fight. They had a lot of different rules for that fight and regulations, and I anticipate the same thing with this Jake Paul fight. It really is interesting because you want to go with the old guy and you want to go with he's a legend of the game. There's no way he could lose, but I don't know, man. It's so hard. But as far as the take goes and who I think should win the 8 o'clock spot on my first, Adam, don't even close your eyes over there. Who I think I should win the 8 o'clock spot based on their take, honest to God, I think it is my man Barry Grant Jr. of the All Even Podcast coming in here.
Sucking up to Barry Grant. I thought you were better than that.
Hey, I really liked a lot of what Adam was saying with, him, Jake, referring to Jake, bringing back the sport excitement and all that stuff. But what really resonated with me,
holding the receipts for July 20th, and actually it's a circus. And actually, you said it's a circus, and it's at AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, yeah.
How funny is that? But I'm holding those receipts, so when Jake Paul wins from decision, I want those points back. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. We can maybe throw you a 200 pointer. No, but
I had one for Jake Paul. I take that back.
Well, no, what I was gonna say with Barry, what resonated with his take for me was just his understanding of how much experience it takes to do this at a high level for such a long time. And Mike Tyson did that. Obviously, he had the woes with his coach dying and all this stuff and coming back and whatnot. But he has the mental makeup, and that's the most important thing in fighting, in my opinion. Yes, the physicality might not completely be there anymore, but you cannot put a price on experience. And yes, Jake has been training, and he seems like a really good fighter. But the other time we have witnessed him face an actual boxer, he lost, and he brought up Fury, and he just brought up a little bit more details with the Roy Jones, the Fury fight, and that's why I had to give it to Barry Grant Jr. Guys, listen, if this is your first time on 8 o'clock spot popping in here, please do leave a like, a comment, subscribe to the Gryd Network. We have so many great shows, including these two guys' shows, All Even Podcast with Barry Grant Jr., Cowboys CanFan with Adam, and AJ over there, my show, Boys in the Zone with EJ Savage, so many more. It's been a pleasure hosting. It was a really fun time, and I appreciate these two guys for being on time. Shame, negative points for AJ. I'm sorry.
Right, give him negative 10,000 now. That's what he's gonna get. Negative 10,000 to his points.
Absolutely, guys. You have anything else to say before we get out of here?
Yes, I do. As the champion, the back-to-back winner of the show in the last 2 weeks, and I'd like to say this as well. This is why this win is really, really a good one for me, because when Adam won a few weeks back, he texted me, is like, man, I wanted to beat you for this, because I was having some computer issues. I had to jump off. He won it, and he was really trying to needle me. So the fact that I got him back tonight feels good. Feels good.
Kind of a little bit of an asterisk, though, because our main host isn't here. So my win is an asterisk. But
I think what I'm gonna do is like pitching, right? It's like, you have the pitcher that has their catcher that pitches for them every game. I want EJ hosting whenever I'm on this show.
Oh yeah, of course.
Damn it, Bryson. I don't need him anymore.
Yeah.
Well, the funniest thing is my first win came against Barry. So if you would have beat me, then I would have been biased. I would have probably gave you the dub ad. No, but
I want both of you guys against me and having Bryson as the host. I like both of y'all.
I like it.
Yeah, we need Bryson as a participant in here one time.
We can definitely do that.
That's a good point.
We can definitely do that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That'll be awesome. Hey, well, everybody, super fun show.
Congrats on your rigged win there, Barry Grant Jr. You just won this like Jake Paul's going to win in July with a rigged fight.
I love you, man.
I love you too.
There we go. Hey, Bryson said, I got your back, Adam. No, but hey, from everybody on the Gryd Network, we're signing out. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll be back next week with another 8 o'clock spot. We'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.
Peace.